What was Nushrratt like in college?
Oh, I was a complete tomboy badass. There are some girls who I've met after these years and they said, oh, we know you. You were the girl who would enter Jai Hind and scream. And not scream nice things. Let me just tell you that.
People mistake me for Soha Ali Khan more than anyone else because we have very similar names.
What?
Soha Ali Khan, Soha Ali Khan. I get a lot of his mail, guys.
It was a term coined for a film like that. It was called Rotalks, which is horror and sex. When I was trying to be an actor, I was actually offered a film like that.
Coming from a family where everybody is a superstar, the idea of being famous or successful never had any magic because I was surrounded by it. So what did I want? I wanted to be happy.
आप जो बोल रहे हो, आप जो लिख रहे हो, उससे सिर्फ एक इंसान को नहीं, बहुत लोगों को फर्क पड़ता है. I literally choose to not go down because I don't want to know what kind of people have access to these phones and are writing things without any thought or any conscience or any heart. There are more possibilities of films of Chhorii 2 and 3 to 3 and 4, whatever to come, because it's not ending in our lives.
It never
There's one
ends.
female infanticide to Sati. You can have many Chhories. You know what the relationship of the future is going to be?
What?
I've been told. The relationship that's going to last in future is
So I'm going to start off by asking you. You were in Jai Hind,
Yes.
and what was Nushrratt like in college?
Oh, I was a complete tomboy badass. I think from the guards to the peons to the staff really of Jai Hind knew me so well because I spent most time hanging out with them.
Okay.
I have no idea why. Where I think it was before I wanted to get out of classes or something. I don't know. I put out them. But I was in the Social Dramatic Union. So I've come to Sophia's for a lot of intercollegiate fests. I was, of course, an assistant then. But I don't know why I would enter Jai Hind. I would open the gates and I would scream out loud to a friend right across the campus. And there are some girls who I've met after these years and they said, oh, we know you. You were the girl who would enter Jai Hind and scream. And not scream nice things. Let me just tell you that. So
What fun! This is great.
remember me like that. I don't know how.
This is great.
And none of them recognize me now because then I actually wore my dad's kurtas and pajamas, oversized, with a, I don't know if I should say this, but a jhula type thing, with orange or burgundy permed hair and glasses.
Wow.
I was a complete opposite of this. So
That's amazing, though. Wow, this is awesome. Thank you for sharing. You didn't go to college in Mumbai. You went to college in Oxford.
yes.
Do
I was
you
in
rem-
England.
what was Soha Ali Khan like in college?
I was one of the geeks. I really enjoyed studying. Oxford has a particular way of teaching. I don't know if you guys are familiar or not. There's no classes. So you sit one-on-one with your professor. And, usually you read books written by famous people, experts in that subject. Here, you're taught by the person who wrote the book. So it's quite intimidating. And I had this impression of Oxford being like, oh my God, I was like a topper in my class, but I knew now everyone is going to be academically very brilliant over there. And I was nervous about going there. I'd also had a very protected life up until then. I'd gone to the same school in Delhi my whole entire life. So I was leaving my country, I was leaving my family, I was leaving my educational system, and I was going to a new place. And there was a culture shock. But I quickly realized that you find your own. Not everyone is like sort of, that image you have of someone wearing thick glasses and piles of books and, they've never seen the sun and, like that. It wasn't like that. There were some quote unquote normal people as well. We enjoyed playing badminton and doing theater as well while I was there. And slowly it took time, about 3 months for me to settle down, get over my depression, find my friends, run away from some people who I thought were my friends, who you like make in the first week, and they're like, actually, this is the wrong choice. And now how do I break up with this friend? And then slowly you settle in. But I was always very into academics and reading and research and writing.
I love the fact that we're here for a film. As I set the context, I said, it's not easy to bring a film into a college simply because the college will say, ye kya chal raha hai? But this was an easy choice simply because of the subject. It is a sequel, so I'm going to start off with that. Nushrratt, you've had the privilege of being part of the first Chhorii as well. What did Chhorii, the first installment, do for you as an actor?
I think if there was ever a film that people normally say this, which is a turning point in your life. And I could very easily say Sonu Ki Chiti Ki Sweetie because business-wise, that did the most. And even now, popularity-wise, that's the first film people will talk of if they have to talk about me. But what Chhorii gave me was so much respect, so much value, with how you say now we're a bunch of people who are understanding cinema and media and talking about it. For me, it's the people who interview me, are the journalists who I talk to, who have to watch every film because that's how they review it. When I talk to them, they don't talk about SKTKS to me. They talk about Chhorii. They talk about Chhorii for the last 4 years, no matter which interview I've done. The first question they asked me was, we really want to know about Chhorii 1. So I think that is the first-hand experience I've got or feedback I've got for a film like that. Because it didn't come in theatres. It's an OTT film. And it came out in the pandemic. And it did really well for Amazon Prime and Abundantia, which is why we made a part 2. But for me personally, are those interpersonal conversations I've had with journalists who see me in a different light, who said, we really didn't think you would do something like this, or you could do something like this. And it really touched us.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing. So it's rare to see you on interviews.
It's rare to see me anywhere.
It's rare to see you.
I don't leave
period.
the house very often, guys.
So that's my question. It's so easy to assume that when you're part of a family that comes from the movies, you would be so easily accessible to everything that there is because everything's accessible to you. And here you are, you pick and choose the films that you want to do. You show up literally like, it almost feels from the outside, yeah, okay, I'll do this film now. Sure.
No. I mean,
But not in a mean way.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not let that dictate your life and how do you become the chooser? It's something I really want to know.
I think, we're often influenced by people who are close to us. And one big role model for me was my father. And of course, by the time I was born, he retired from cricket. But he played for the enjoyment of the sport. There was no money at all, if you can believe it, in cricket when my father was playing in the 60s. No IPL, no endorsements, nothing. My mother was the breadwinner in the family. So I always saw him saying that you should do what makes you happy. And I also saw my mother, who was, of course, has been an actor her whole entire life. She's been acting from the age of 13. And she has a movie release also on the 11th. And she's 80. So she's been working her whole entire life. And she still chose to do whatever her heart prompted her to do. So at the age of 26, she got married, even though you typically don't do that if you're a woman. You know that when you get married, your career takes a bit of a hit. She had a child when she was a couple of years later. She got married when she was 24. She had my brother when she was 26. And she continued to work, and she had some of her biggest successes after that. So I've always followed in a very impulsive way what I want to do, and my career has always been a part of my life, not my entire life. I feel like there's lots. We have one life. I am ambitious to an extent, but I would like to sort of say that I'm not the most ambitious person also. I want to be content. I don't want to have missed out on anything. I'm very close to the people I love, and I don't like to be away from them, especially my 7-year-old daughter. It takes a lot for me to go away from that, especially since I've become a mother. And now I feel like I think about, if I do this, will I be truly absorbed and immersed in it, or will I regret it and say, I wish I was, doing homework with her? And I'm so happy with Chhorii that I felt completely immersed, and I didn't want to be anywhere else. I do love my work, but it is very much a part of my life.
How lovely. Because,
It's so uncanny. This is exactly what I'm really jealous of.
Same.
I mean, it's literally the dichotomy of fame right here.
Yeah.
I'm so obsessed with my work. I'm so crazy about what I do. And it's not good. Because you're right. I don't want this to be my entire life, but it actually is my entire life from morning to night. I would love to have a life like that. I'm not kidding. Where I have a husband and I have a kid and I have a family and I have sports and I have other things that I'm interested in. Like my life cannot just be this. It has to have other things. But it doesn't.
It will. You have time.
I know I do. Thanks for that. I love you. So I love you. I love you.
No, but thank you for setting
see
this
how
as an
this is?
example. Because I'll tell you what, we are now in a world of binaries, right? Either you have it or you don't. Either you have it all or you don't. Either you're ambitious or you're not. And I think that what you just said has sparked, at least within us, the possibility to kind of be the person who makes the choice. Right. And I think that in the rat race, we often forget that we can make the choice.
I think you have to identify what it is that makes you happy. And coming from a family where everybody is a superstar, the idea of being famous or successful never had any magic because I was surrounded by it. So what did I want? I wanted to be happy.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. I think you've left us all very like questioning our lives.
Yeah,
At this point.
trust me. And the more interviews I do with her, the more I'm like, I'm going to go home and ponder on that.
Good, then I can do the films you're not doing.
See, I do want to ask you about two things. One is about the fact that okay, so we come from a tradition of horror films where the women used to be taking a shower. All right, and then ek haath aata tha, and it was the Ramsey
And
films.
everything would
if
get
you guys
smoggy.
remember. And that was the horror films that we grew up on. Anybody here who remembers that time? I think maybe Gracie remembers Ramsey की फिल्में जहाँ पर वो लड़की नहा रही है और एक हाथ आता है. Remember that? Or it's like basically Hitchcock, but you know, back home for us. And here we are with horror, which has taken a completely different turn. I also think that horror is quite the currency for the Indian film industry right now because they're peddling it like a new drug, saying that, oh my God, we've figured our horror a little bit. But I think women in horror, there's something there. So I love the fact that your story takes the idea of what we want to actually say, and the setting is horror. What is it about the story that, you know, or this entire setting that is most important to you?
I think the ones that you were talking about is a time where there was a term coined for a film like that. It was called Horrocks, which is horror and sex. When I was trying to be an actor, I was actually offered a film like that.
Okay.
And I said, no. And it was told to me that, how can you not pick a Horrocks? I said, what is that? I'm sorry, I don't understand. I know thrillers, I know comedies, what is Horrocks? So, but we've come a long way from that, I feel. At least I'm happy that a horror film, even if it's a horror comedy, and we've talked about this in previous interviews, at least it has a nicer audience, like a family audience that's coming to watch it. And like you said, if this has become the new currency or the new drug, what's happened is that even if a horror comedy is working, it's opening up avenues for a pure horror to kind of exist, or a creature horror to exist, or a sci-fi horror to exist. Because that one particular genre is picking up and people are going to watch it, it's opening up so many other binaries of it which can exist.
Sure.
When Chhorii 1 came, we didn't have that much of a scope.
Yeah.
We really didn't. I mean, when Chhorii 2 came, now the conversations are much more, talking points are much more, because over the last 4 years, a lot of horror comedies have taken forefront, right?
Yeah,
They've
and
done more
Tumba
business.
did well.
Tumba did well.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is like a sci-fi, supernatural horror. So I'm just glad that in whatever way, at least the genre is now found a new kind of view to it, expression to it, new audience, a larger audience. So I think it's a good space to exist in. As far as women are concerned, not just horror, yeah, Rohini, I feel like women in cinema only has taken a while to come to where it is. With every film, with every story that evolves, it's writing for us. Even if the story is not about us, even if it's a male story, like it's a male protagonist, but the female part is there. You remember her, you agree with her, there is an arc to her, there's a depth to her, there is some meaning to her. That has also come. I mean, I read a lot of, or I get narrations of a lot of things where I'm like, oh, that's a nicely written part. Like, I would like to do it. It's not insignificant. It's not just some songs and, I don't know, 3 comedy scenes. That's the normal pitch.
Do you have anything to add in here? Was there a time in your life where the songs were offered and only the songs?
No, well, my first Hindi film, my first film was a Bengali film. My first film was Dil Mange More, which I'd just come back from England and I wanted to act. My family were not very happy about it. So these were decisions I was making entirely by myself. And I was offered this film. Your typical launch from, if you're a star kid, should not be a film with 3 girls, typically. But I didn't care. I was like, oh, this character of Neha is interesting because she's 18, she's just graduated from college, and she chooses her career over Shahid Kapoor. So that makes sense to me. I don't want to get married at this age, so I want to play her because I identify with her. Basically, I chose not to be the heroine because you are the heroine if you choose the hero. So Aisha Takya became the heroine of the film, and everyone's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. I just, like, don't I have to, like, feel something for the characters? And this is what acting is about. And they're like, no, just be the girl. Just be the heroine. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was offered all kinds of things. Some of which I said no to, and some of which may have been bad choices in hindsight, but I said yes to. I don't have regrets because I don't see the point of them. You sort of move on and you don't dwell on them. Maybe I would have done things differently in the past, but I basically said no to something if I thought it was just fluff. And I feel like I have managed to do roles where I feel that the character is integral to the plot in some way, but a lot of them have not been hugely viewed or seen by many people as well.
Correct. And here you are. You know, I mean, I'm sure you watched the trailer, so there's no spoilers here. You're playing the evil force. What are you playing in this film? Like, are you the antagonist? Is there a face-off between the two of you? Tell us something.
My character is called Dasima, and it's very difficult to describe exactly what she is, apart from saying she's like the high priestess in a cult, in an underground cult that does really like evil, heinous crimes, and especially oppressive towards the female gender, young girls. And she also she has a gift which can also be seen as an affliction, a disease of some kind, but it also gives her some kind of supernatural powers, which she uses when she chooses to.
I am so proud of you, Soha.
Why?
You know, one of the interviews, she actually said something and I looked at her, I said, you're not supposed to say that yet.
I haven't said it yet.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm so proud of you.
Lucky you interrupted me. I was just about to say it.
Thank God! Oh my God! That's why I let her answer first.
I'll stop now.
Soha's going to say it all.
No, I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing. I'll tell you why. Because I see there are lots of things happening here. You are the real life mother. You are playing a mother. So I'm assuming there might have been an exchange or not. You can tell me more about that. Also, the idea that women can be women's greatest enemies, and that is because you've internalized the patriarchy so much. So I see a lot happening with these characters. First, let's talk about motherhood. So how is that for you? Because it's fake motherhood for you. How is it fun?
No, not at all. It's my toughest thing to do. I think in Chhorii 1, I was so paranoid that I will not look like a pregnant
Yes,
woman.
I remember that. Because Nushrratt is a very small-built girl.
Yes.
And she was always worried about the fact that if she wears that, I'm still not... I remember this interview, yeah.
I said, I'm not going to look pregnant. How do I look pregnant? I can't actually get myself pregnant, guys. I said, come on, that's a bit too much, you know. So
Did you consider that?
I did, actually. I consider everything when it comes to cinema. I said, well, how do I make it more real? How do I get into that person's body? But I can't. So
How do I get another person into my body?
Also. So I was freaked out 4 years back, and then they told me that, hi, now you have to be like a mother of a 5-year-old.
Yes, but tell me something. For an actor where you're at in your life right now, was that ever a challenge? Did you ever have to think about it? Because I know that there was a film, I wish I could remember the film, but Divya Vinekar, you can help me. Which film did Reema Lagoo play Salman Khan's mum, but she was actually younger than Salman Khan?
But my mom played Rajesh Khanna's mother also in Aradhana.
Yeah. And that's what, you have to often do. I don't know at that point if there was ever a question, but I can ask you because you're in front of me. Did it ever bother you?
Not at all. I played a mother to a 7-year-old in Ram Setu. When, of course, nobody would have agreed or thought or let me do something like that. But thankfully, I make my own choices. Like she said, she did a part in a film then which was not the heroine. I did a film called Pyar Ka Panchnama where I was from nowhere the heroine. Like, people hated me for a very long time. Till I had to go on in front of a camera and say, I'm not the heroine, I'm the villain. Can you beat that? I've done that. So I don't think there's anything I wouldn't do or I would be careful of doing or be stressed about it. I think my only stress would be, will I play it right? Will I look right? Will I be convincing? If someone picks up and tells me, that was a false note there, I'll die. Like, I'll just be like sleepless nights over and over again. So for me, in this, to play a mother was very, very difficult. It was very stressful because I like children, but I become like a friend to them. I don't know what the motherly instinct is. And in fact, in this film, it's the mother instinct that kicks in and she saves her child, right? That's the fight. I don't know what that line is. So somebody has to tell me that. Somebody has to show me that.
So who did?
My director, who's not a mother
from any angle.
But he could be a father. But so for me, Chhorii 1 and 2 is Vishal sir.
Yes, you said that.
I have surrendered to him from day one. I've literally gone on set saying, sir, I have no idea how I'm going to go through this day. I'm just drinking my coffee and chilling. I said, you cast me. You figure it out. I've literally on heavy days just thrown it on him saying, I can't stress about this anymore. I will literally take a flight and go back to Bombay and say, I can't shoot the film. That's how stressed I'll get. But he has held my hand like I'm the child and he's the mother. And he's taken me through both the films. Yeah. And when you all do watch the film, There is a particular scene that I've done with the kid, my kid. Still,
The kid is
the
great.
kid. You see, it's difficult. Where it's the only scene in the entire film I refused to dub because I felt that I took a lot of time to get to that state of emotion and mental place, and I performed that scene in a certain way, and I feel like my sound in just crying, there were no dialogues really, I was just saying anything, but that tonality for me, again, this is me judging me, guys, came so correctly that I said, I'm not screwing this up. I can say screwing this up, right? Yeah. I'm not screwing this up by dubbing it because there could be a false sound or like an act which is done to entice a certain impact, which I'm completely against. So that scene I'm very proud of in the whole film, if you ask me.
I
Because
can't
that
wait
was
to
my biggest
thank you.
challenge.
I was going to ask you, give us a scene before you go, each of you, where you brought something that surprised you. So that's for you. Mother in real life, I want to ask you, when does it get challenging to be the mother that you are? Like, do you find anything particularly hard? Also, because the context is always that we're navigating these new worlds, right? We're navigating social media. I'm sure there are new shows that have come out on platforms where you're questioning, are my children okay? The other thing, yeah. And then you also have an added sort of layer to your motherhood, which is the sort of public eye. So any things that you've said, these are my yeses, these are my nos, what is extremely crucial to you?
It's very challenging actually because you can overthink it a lot. And most people will say, don't overthink it because so many people become mothers. It's not rocket science. You raise a child raises itself. It's not just you, it takes a village, etc., etc. But I'm an overthinker. And I'm one of those people who wants to do their job really well. So when I became a mother, I said, now this has to be one of the most important jobs. I know calling it a job sounds very clinical, but I said I want to do my best with this child. I want her to be the best that she can be. And I think the most difficult thing is to disassociate yourself. When you cut the umbilical cord, I keep saying to Inaya, Inaya, you're 50% Kunal and 50% me. But she is 100% her own person. And for example, the most tough thing for me is to come to terms with the fact that this child does not like to read. And I am a voracious reader. And I said, it's not possible. I cannot accept it. So I will make sure, I was like, no, Inaya, you have to read. If you read for 15 minutes, I will buy you this. If you read for 30 minutes, please, just maybe if I maybe somewhere along the line, I don't know, when you become a reader. And they're like, no, you just read. And one of my closest friends, her daughter, is like just reading all the time. And I'm like, look at Aisha. She's reading right now.
That hurts.
Yeah. And I was like, and then Kunal's like, no, when I was young, I used to also look out of the window. And like her teacher was sometimes like, she's not finishing her assignment because she's sort of dreaming a little bit. Yeah. And I was like, I was the one who was like finishing first. My history notes are still used in the British school in Delhi, guys.
Oh my God.
How can you be my child? So that is what I'm struggling with, that I may be her mother. I may be doing everything for her. But tomorrow she's just going to turn around and say, this is me
not
and
me.
that's you.
Yeah.
And you be you, I'm being me. And I'm just going to have to go back to doing lots of work.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. I think this is delightful, at the same time very stressful for you.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about the fact that, as we mentioned some time ago, that the reason why this film is in a classroom today is because it talks about themes, right? And the themes are pretty simple. I remember this epic that I watched, which was on television, where the kids were killed because they were girls. And that is the sort of storytelling or the fable around this country. And I feel that is it had such a lasting impact on me, because we're privileged, all of us. We are sitting in classrooms with electricity and air conditioning, and some of us in makeup and hair. And we perhaps don't feel the need to fight for survival. However, the fights still continue. So I want to ask each of you, when did you have to put up a fight, despite the privilege that you might have carried? And how did somebody around you tell you to stand up for yourself?
I think for me, it's been all my life and it still continues to be that.
Really?
Still.